Hamilton. He's passing Verstappen. Good. Oh, hang on, we're live. Oh, sorry. Good morning. Good morning. Is it morning? Sorry, I've been asleep for the past 3 hours. Had this weird dream that it was some race in Mexico that nothing actually happened in. The result was the same as the year before, exactly the same timings as well. Drivers finished in similar positions as well. So Noda was out 2 years running. Crazy dream. Oh, it wasn't a dream. It happened again. Okay, no problem at all. I do feel like I need to sleep. It's like when you've had loads of helpings of shepherd's pie, loads of glasses of red wine, and put in front of a fire and expect to stay up. It's like when you've had your Christmas dinner, you sit down in the front room, you have a few sweets up the Quality Streets tin, and just fall asleep watching the television as well. What a dull Grand Prix. I've never we've had some dull ones, but that was dull. That was really dull. And to talk about it, here's Lando Norris in the media pen.
Down to P10.
It's only 2 positions. It's
Well,
a long run down to turn 1.
It's not optimal.
You should try driving, mate.
Yeah.
No, I just lost one off the line and one around the corners. As simple as that. Nothing too bad happened. So, no, other than that, we did a good job. Maybe we covered Yuki a bit too early on the hard tyre, and it wasn't the correct thing to do. But apart from that, the strategy was reasonable. Daniel did a good job. So, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the hard tyre didn't really work out for anyone today. I guess you had to do it because you were covering Yuki, but
Exactly.
Daniel came through and...
Yeah, I mean, Daniel's in a lucky position that he could just stay out and do whatever he wanted kind of thing, which in other races I've been able to do, like in Monza and so on. And today it just benefited him, but it was obviously worked out well. That we had that plan from the beginning. If someone was in that position, and Daniel was that guy, so he made up for it and made the most of it. So he did a good job.
2 points, well done.
Thanks.
That's Ted Kravitz doing the interviews there as well, because unfortunately Natalie Pinkham's children are unwell at the moment. Wilf and Willow, we send a speedy recovery to them and hope Pink is doing okay. So Pinks isn't here and missed the race, but we should be back with us later on, and hopefully everything's okay at home. Okay, that was a quick Lando interview, but what a miserable Grand Prix. And let's go through it then with sort of a Ted's notebook style that we like to do here as well. Just move my headset out of the way as well so I can get to my documents that I've got here, and a little bit of a stat for you as well, because I'm going to take them out their sleeves to start talking to you about them as well. These are the documents that I hand create as well. I type them up on a computer and I add to them throughout the weekend as well. So these two pieces here, I'll show you them actually back to back. So it's a list of drivers' names, a few little stats like Max Verstappen, number 1, best BQ, best qualifying, first 2019, but got a penalty. Best result, first 2017, 2018, 2021, now 2022 as well. What session where they finished, like in practice one, he was 4th and that lot as well. So we're going through driver by driver in order of race results, and then go through a whole list of what happened across the weekend as well. So first of all, let's start off with Max Verstappen. Race victory. Practice 1, he was 4th. Practice 2, 6th. Practice 3, he was 3rd. Took pole position as well. Then won the race here today as well. A fantastic Grand Prix for him. 14th win in a single season. Breaks the record set by Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel, equaling both. Schumacher said it first in 2004. Vettel then did it again in 2013 as well. But that's also now the most successful car in Formula One history as well in a single season, because it's won 16 Grand Prix of the 22. But interestingly enough, it's not actually in terms of percentages the most successful car, because that still belongs to McLaren's MP44, because it won 16 of the 17 races that year, only missing out on 1 at Monza when the 2 Ferraris took victory, with Berger winning the race as well. So great day for Max Verstappen. He took the lead immediately, kept it in front, wasn't bothered all day, lost it a couple in the pit stops as well with a bad stop, with a good stop actually. It was Perez had the bad stop, so all good there as well for him. Going further on then as well, second down as well. Let's go on. Lewis Hamilton. Practice 1, he was 5th. Practice 2, 4th. Second in practice 3, and 3rd on the grid in qualifying as well. Jumped ahead of George Russell at the start. Was hounding the back of Verstappen throughout the Grand Prix in the early stages, but did lose out eventually as well. So Hamilton stayed in second. Tried the alternate strategy of going to hard tyres. Didn't really work out for him. Verstappen had the mediums and it worked out better. Sergio Perez finished in 3rd position as well. He was third in practice 1, fifth in practice 2 and 3, fourth in qualifying. So he's actually moved up a position more ahead of where he was as well. Further down as well, George Russell finished in 4th position. Didn't take part in practice 1, of course, kept that for a Friday driver. He topped practice 2 and 3, second in qualifying. A weekend that showed so much potential for George Russell. Didn't pay off for him at all. He finished in 4th. Complained about the tyres. He was on the hards, started on mediums, went to hards, then ended up on the softs as well. Did a few laps on an old set of soft tyres as well to get the fastest lap, and he did it. 28.1 first sector, 31.0 second sector, third sector 20.8. He got a 1:21.153. He set the fast lap and got that away from Sergio Perez. So a nice little run there for him as well. Carlos Sainz in P5 as well. Ferrari having an off weekend. Carlos Sainz, he topped practice 1 actually as well, and he did his time of a 1:27.07 in the first session as well in dry conditions. Should have been quicker, wasn't quicker as well. So Sainz first in practice 1, 8th in practice 2, 6th in practice 3, 5th in qualifying. So he's always around the top 5 and finishes 5th as well in the Grand Prix where he started. Still a miserable weekend for Ferrari. Charles Leclerc as well, 2nd in practice 1, 7th in practice 2, 4th in practice 3, 7th again in qualifying. He ended up P6 in the Grand Prix. Again, Ferrari's having a nowhere race, and we're complaining about drops in power as well throughout the Grand Prix. And that was the last driver on the lead lap. Everybody else got lapped. It was that type of day. 7th for Daniel Ricciardo. We're talking to him now as well. Ricciardo, though, sort of created the moments of the Grand Prix, was always making his way up throughout the field, making overtakes, making drama for us, made contact with Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda became the first retirement of the Grand Prix as well. Ricciardo went on the inside, down at turn 6, caught the rear right wheel of Tsunoda, lifted him up in the air, damaged the side pod. Ricciardo was out of the Grand Prix. Tsunoda was out of the Grand Prix. Ricciardo carried on, but Ricciardo did get a penalty in the race that dropped him down into 7th as well. But Ricciardo, practice 1 into 11th, practice 2, 15th, practice 3, 14th, 11th in qualifying to finish in 7th and get points even with that penalty. Surprisingly, is actually really good for Danny Ricciardo. So a top job there for him in the Grand Prix. Esteban Ocon finished in 8th position, got ahead of Fernando Alonso as well, and then immediately got passed as well by Ricciardo. Ocon didn't take part in practice 1, was 3rd in practice 2, 11th in practice 3, 10th in qualifying, finished 8th, so 2 places higher from where he qualified. A great race for him. Lando Norris in 9th position as well, 8th in practice 1, 14th practice 2, 7th practice 3 as well, and 8th in qualifying, finishes in 9th, so dropped position, but Lando sort of had a sort of a nowhere race once again today as well, but still a lot of action to be seen for him in the future as well, getting used to the grips of that car as well with the new aero rules. We'll see him doing well, but my personal driver of the day, Valtteri Bottas, has had a stunning weekend in the Alfa Romeo, absolutely stunning. Bottas 7th in practice 1, 9th practice 2, 8th practice 3, 6th in qualifying, finishes in 10th and gets a very, very well-deserved point, and personally my driver of the weekend, Valtteri Bottas. Absolutely fantastic strategy calls from him all weekend long as well. Pierre Gasly in 11th position. Practice 1 he was 9th, practice 2 10th, practice 3 15th, and qualifying in 14th. So he's just dropping back all the weekend. Managed to give it up for 14th in qualifying. Finished 11th, but was on an alternate strategy as well. He only did a one-stopper. Started on the mediums, took them to halfway in the Grand Prix, then 30 laps on the soft tyres as well. So he was much faster than everybody else. So it did work out okay in the end. I'm getting a headache now for this Grand Prix. Alexander Albon, an impressive 12th for him as well. He didn't take part in practice 1, gave his car up to Logan Sargent as well, his teammate next year if all goes well. 13th in practice 2, 10th in practice 3, 19th in qualifying. So really good job for Albon to finish in 12th position. Really strong result from him here today as well. Zhou Guanyu finished in 13th position as well, and he was 12th in practice 1, 20th in practice 2, 12th practice 3, 12th in qualifying, and he was 13th today. So the 12s were with him this weekend, and then he dropped out to 13th place. So I think it balances out quite nicely as a juxtaposition in terms of his average position throughout the weekend. Zhou had a few good overtakes and was in a lot of some of the battles we saw today, but still wasn't exactly a great call throughout the Grand Prix. Vettel in 14th as well. terrible weekend for Aston Martin, complaining over the radio as well yesterday that everything was terrible, the car included as well. But for Vettel, he was 10th in practice 1, 12th practice 2, 19th in practice 3, 17th in qualifying, fought back to only 14th in the Grand Prix as well. His teammate Lance Stroll was in 15th position as well. Stroll's had a worse weekend, 13th practice 1, 16th practice 2 and practice 3, 18th in qualifying, so he's actually moved up to 15th, but still no points on the board again for Aston Martin, and they were in a crucial battle as well, closing out, because Aston Martin won 51 points, Alfa Romeo on 51, now Alfa Romeo are on 53, so there's a 2-point gap there in the Constructors' Championship as well. Further down then, Mick Schumacher finished in 16th position. He's had a pretty certain normal weekend. Practice 1, he was 14th. Practice 2 and practice 3, 17th. Qualifying, he was 16th on the grid as well. Schumacher ends this race in 16th as well, so he pretty much stays where he qualified. Nearly at the end, Kevin Magnussen, 17th overall in the race. Magnussen didn't take part in practice 1. He gave his car up as well to Pietro Fittipaldi and broke down on the track as well, so he had a new internal combustion engine ahead of practice 2. So he was 18th practice 2, 20th in practice 3, qualified 15th, but started at the back of the grid due to a penalty and managed to fight his way back up into 17th position as well, 2 positions lower than when he qualified as well. Nicholas Latifi, the last driver to complete the race as well, he finished in 18th position. Latifi was 15th in practice 1, 19th practice 2, 18th practice 3, 20th in qualifying and 18th in the race. And this is what I laugh at as well. He's 2 laps down and he was 53 seconds off the back of Kevin Magnussen as well. So Nicholas Latifi really struggling, which is disappointing because he did have a great race back at Suzuka. So it's just luck of the draw, it seems to be as well. On to the 2 retirements then in this Grand Prix as well as they come through. What is going on? Toto Wolff is talking with Danny Ricciardo on Team. Toto Wolff's not even in his Mercedes overalls, actually, so he's not even going to be on TV, it seems. But anyway, going to the 2 retirements. Fernando Alonso, 7 laps before the end of the Grand Prix, retired. A turbo failure down towards turn number 1 as well. Blow up of the engine as well. That could be a grid penalty going into the sprint race in Brazil, Sao Paulo in a couple of weeks' time as well. But yeah, very disappointing for Alonso. Megan absolutely was not happy with it as well. Very, very upset up in the comments box. But for Alonso, he's on the other side of this document we've got here. Practice 1, it was a promising weekend. Practice 1 started 6th. Practice 2 was 11th. Practice 3 was 13th. Qualifying start, it was 9th. Was running 7th in the points. Dropped back. Very disappointing. And Yuki Tsunoda, the last driver as well, as I said, hit by Danny Ricciardo, broken rear toe link, damaged the side pod. Tsunoda was out of the Grand Prix as well, 21 laps before the end of the race. But Tsunoda's weekend didn't take part in practice 1, gave his car up as well to Liam Lawson, was 2nd in practice 2, so it was a very good session for him. 9th in practice 3, qualified 13th, so didn't have a great run, and the race here today ends it 20th as well. Wow. That was something to go by as well. 15 minutes of things happening. Have I got any more information coming through to me before we go off air as well? I don't think so. Grid Networks just telling me what a better race it was in NASCAR. It seemed to be, actually. And I'm very disappointed to see it. But we've told you everything that's happened in the Grand Prix as well. Nothing else really you've missed. No penalties. Charles Leclerc got a couple of track limits warnings as well. You saw during the Grand Prix. We sort of reviewed the whole weekend as well with these documents as well. We try and reinvent the programs. But let's officially go through now the session results once again then here for the Mexico City Grand Prix. Max Verstappen takes his 14th win of the season, now becomes the most successful driver in a single season ever, as well, beating Schumacher and Vettel, who had 13 wins. Lewis Hamilton a step closer as well to race victory in 2nd position. Can he win it at Sao Paulo as well? Be fairy tale if he can. Sergio Perez finished in 3rd position as well. George Russell was 4th. He got the fastest lap, as I said, a 1:21.53. Carlos Sainz was 5th. Charles Leclerc 6th as well, the last driver on the lead lap. Danny Ricciardo was 7th as well. Esteban Ocon 8th. Lando Norris 9th. And Valtteri Bottas rounds out the points-paying positions. Further down as well, Pierre Gasly was 11th, Alexander Albon 12th, Zhou Guanyu is 13th, 14th for Sebastian Vettel, 15th for Lance Stroll. Mick Schumacher put it into 16th, 17th for Kevin Magnussen, 18th for Nicholas Latifi, and out of the race, 19th for Fernando Alonso, and 20th for Yuki Tsunoda. Okay, so Max Verstappen still leads the Drivers' Championship. He's already clinched that up as well. The gap between Perez now has increased. Perez has retaken Leclerc in second in the Drivers' Championship as well. So there's that still to play for going into the next couple of races. Good points as well for Mercedes here. They're closing in on Ferrari as well. And the constructors, it's all going to be a very interesting Grand Prix. Let's just read some comments from Josh, who's gone through the weekend. That's going into the end of the year best of 2022. Yes, and no, it's not quite on the track as it's littered with Mexicans. It is actually as well. Wait, wasn't Sonoda the first retirement last year? Lol. Yeah, he was. I said that in the commentary actually. Sonoda retired on the first corner last year, and he was the first retirement this year as well. So yeah, it was a very weird weekend. Okay, special coverage time then as well. Next weekend, it is MotoGP's season finale, and we have a championship to decide. Pepe Bagnaia needs 2 points to take victory in the championship over Fabio Quartararo. But anything can happen. We've seen that sort of gap happen before, and it go the way of the other rider as well. So we are having the whole weekend special coverage live for every single session of MotoGP, from practice 1, practice 2, practice 3, practice 4, qualifying, warm-up and the race, all live here on YouTube for the season finale. Then the week after, it's sprint weekend. So on Friday for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, we'll have practice 1 and qualifying. Saturday morning, practice 2, and then the sprint race on Sunday. It's race time. The week after that, it's the last race of the year in Abu Dhabi, a normal weekend with Friday practice 1 and 2, Saturday practice 3, qualifying, Sunday the race as well. Just 3 working weekends left then in the 2022 season as well, across everything here on YouTube. Personally, I'm ready for a break. It's been an amazing year. 3 weekends left then. Let's see what they've got to offer. 2 F1 races remain, 1 MotoGP. We'll see you next weekend. From Mexico City, okay, we'll admit it. It was a dead rubber race. Let's hope Sao Paulo can change that mind. Bye-bye.